the Spyder isn't ideal as a commuter. In fact, you might as well simply drive a car. Now, many people automatically discount the Spyder because of this, but I don't really think that's fair. After all, this is a motocross bike, and you can't commute on that either. That's because this is a weekend toy, and that is exactly what the Spyder is. It's a weekend toy. So, it's weekend, let's have some fun. Now this is the F3S. It is the sportier, more powerful version of the Spyder. The engine is a 1300cc triple with a semi-automatic gearbox, which means that it's got no clutch, and you change gears via these little buttons on the handlebar over here. The motor pushes 115 horsepower, which isn't a hell of a lot, especially for a 1300cc triple. But it does weigh 386 kilograms, which means that it's not even in the top 10 list of heaviest motorcycles in the world, which is amazing considering how big this thing is. Plus it's got 130 newton meters of torque, which feels like this. Then there is the matter of steering. The F3 has double A-arms with anti-roll bars, Fox suspension and power steering, which means the front end is basically off of a single-seater racing car, which means that the steering is phenomenally quick and agile. I mean, you just touch the handlebars and the thing just nips in the corners. See, like that. The brakes are from the brake masters at Brembo and comes with ABS. And all three brake calipers are activated by stomping on that pedal, which works. Yeah. There are other safety devices, such as traction control and stability control, which do an astounding job of keeping everything in check. But there is a downside. Except you can't turn the bloody thing off, so it's just constantly interfering. I'm afraid there's going to be no Tokyo drifting on this thing at all. The only time these systems don't work is when the Spyder is doing less than 40 kilometers per hour, making things like this possible. Although this is the sporty version of the Spyder, without a screen as standard, the seat is still big and couch-like, and the seating position is more like a cruiser than a superbike, meaning you can ride all day without discomfort, especially because it has a 27-litre fuel tank. Except that the little backrest thing here keeps trying to pull my pants down, showing plumber's crack to everybody behind me. Despite all these good points, there are still people who are not convinced that this should be classed as a motorcycle. And I'm not so sure I agree with these people. Yes, this thing cannot lean into corners. Yes, it cannot go through traffic. But think about it, most people only ride their bikes on weekends anyway. And how many of those people actually lean through corners? Yeah, on a track maybe, but riding on the breakfast run or going to rallies, how much leaning are you actually doing? And where I am now, I've got the wind in my face, I'm subject to the elements, I can feel everything around me, and my feet are just but a few centimeters from the floor. And isn't that what motorcycling is all about?
So, explain this to me. Why is that on the programme?
Don't you think he was being quite sensible?
Wasn't he? He was a bit
time ever.
reasonable and grown up about it.
Like, thinking of pros and cons, giving it a balanced argument. What's gone wrong?
Why have we had a car on the show?
What? I just realised you gave me an epiphany. I was like, what's going on? I'm turning to my dad. Actually, not.
No, he does not.
No, actually, no,
That's
not
not
even.
a fair comparison.
No, it's not a car. It's a motorbike.
Isn't it? It's got three wheels. In fact, from the front, it looks like a car.
But Harley have been making three-wheel motorbikes for years. And
that's not a motorbike either. It's a sidecar. And that's a traditional one. This is two wheels at the front, one at the back.
They made it.
Tell me, there is a Morgan. You should
Yes.
flash up a picture of this. A Morgan three-wheeler, which just completely by the side. I quite like one, actually.
Yeah, but now you're showing your age.
Well, this is the same thing, isn't it, though? It's a 2 at the front, 1 at the back, and doesn't lean and...
Yeah. I mean, what is the point?
Yeah, okay, but when
the
you're riding
point?
the
What
Can
is the
Am...
point? Tell me what the point is.
let him get...
Okay, I'll let him talk now. Fine.
When you're on the Can Am, you are still on a motorcycle. You've got handlebars, it looks like a motorcycle, you're doing a motorcycle
What
thing.
way does it look like a
looks like
bike?
it's got handlebars, okay? You're on a motorbike, so you can hang out with fellow motorcyclists. So you can hang out with bikers, you can go on a breakfast run.
They will
you
get
can hang out with
everywhere
them.
before you because you'll be stuck in the traffic.
Yes, they will, but you can still hang out with them. You can just catch the tail end of breakfast. You know? But in a Morgan, you just look like, I don't know, some old bird.
Okay, well, in its
driving
defence,
around.
then, it needs to be leery, it needs to be loud. Look, it sounds like it's got a great engine in it, so
Yeah.
it'd be pretty quick. Can you go mad in it? Can you act like a lunatic?
You can. In fact, a few people have said this to me also, is that when you're riding the Can Am, it actually feels slightly more dangerous than a motorcycle. It's got that power steering, and you're just not used to it.
So it must turn for nothing, then?
You touch the handlebars, and suddenly you're going that way.
So you got people darting off into the scenery.
What about spinning up the rear? It looks like a perfect thing to do donuts with and that sort of thing.
As long
That's
as
not
you
very useful consumer
Yeah, we're
advice,
going
but
out
anyway.
of going out of the grown-up.
But bear with us.
As long as you keep it below 40 kilometers per hour. At 40 kilometers per hour, nanny kicks in, full nanny. I mean,
Which
you
is
saw
what, all the traction control.
traction control, stability control, everything. When I was even trying to pick up the one wheel, you know, as you do, the thing suddenly applied full brakes. I stopped. Actually, I got the one wheel up. I thought this is cool. The next thing, the thing just went and came to a complete
Which
halt.
is safe because there is never anybody
Yes,
behind
yes.
you, like, you know,
Yes,
watching what
completely
you're doing,
safe.
is there? So
So below 40, yeah, you can. Above 40, you can only veer off into the
What sort of
distance.
speed are you looking at?
I didn't try. I was too scared.
And what are we paying for all this fear?
Well, the one I was riding is 379. It's got some stitch seating and lights and a few other things. But they go as low as 349.
As low as 349.
Yeah, well, okay. A few
Having said that,
few weeks ago, we had an Indian that was 535,000 rand.
So, but this
So
is
I'm
a
kind of
positive
looking at it,
bargain.
going, it's so economical, brilliant.
Well, it doesn't really have any proper rivals, and the only rivals it does have, and this is a bit of a clue, is a car. A Morgan.
You guys just go on and on.
I tell you
Bunch
what,
of old
we
men.
put you on the spot earlier in the show. Donovan, Tom heart rating for that, please.
Come on.
Oh, this is difficult.
For what it does, it has to be what it says on the tin.
All right, for people who don't want 2 wheels, it's 4. I'll say 4.
Yeah, I can imagine. living
If
with
they
that.
turn all the nanny stuff off, I'd give it a 5. But because of the nanny stuff, 4.
Fair play.
Well, there you go.
So there you are, 2 fantastically inconclusive tests this week. Join us next week where we'll try and make a decision.
About something.